What if the person you trusted most with your life was literally feeding death to others? Marcus Rodriguez seemed like the perfect husband. For 3 years, he'd wake up every morning at 5 a.m., kiss his wife Elena goodbye, and head to his food truck parked outside the bustling Houston Medical Center. Rodriguez's gourmet burgers had become legendary among hospital staff and patients' families. People would drive across town just to taste what Marcus called his secret blend. But have you ever wondered what makes some food so addictively delicious that customers keep coming back, no matter the price? Have you ever met someone whose cooking was so extraordinary that it seemed almost unnatural? Elena Rodriguez thought she knew her husband. She believed his late-night trips to the meat supplier were just dedication to his craft. She trusted his explanation for the locked freezer in their garage. She even defended him when neighbors complained about strange smells coming from their backyard shed. But what Elena discovered on that rainy Tuesday evening in March would shatter everything she thought she knew about the man she married. The truth wasn't just that Marcus had been lying to her for years. The horrifying reality was that dozens of missing persons cases across Texas were about to be solved in the most stomach-churning way imaginable. And Elena Rodriguez, the woman who had unknowingly helped her husband perfect his recipes, was about to become his final ingredient. Before we dive deeper into this nightmare, I need you to do something for me. If stories like this fascinate you as much as they terrify you, hit that like button right now. And if you've ever wondered how well you really know the people closest to you, drop a comment below telling me about a time someone surprised you, good or bad. Trust me, after hearing Marcus and Elena's story, you'll never look at your loved ones the same way again. Now, let me tell you exactly how a marriage built on love transformed into a recipe for murder. Elena Rodriguez had always been proud of her husband's work ethic. While other wives complained about their husbands coming home late, she admired Marcus's dedication to building something from nothing. The food truck business wasn't glamorous, but it was theirs. You should see how people's faces light up when they bite into your burgers, she'd tell him over dinner. Mrs. Patterson from the hospital said she's never tasted anything like it. Marcus would just smile that quiet smile of his and change the subject. What Elena didn't know was that Marcus had been perfecting his craft long before they met. Growing up in a broken home in rural East Texas, he'd learned early that survival sometimes required unconventional methods. His grandmother, a woman the locals whispered about, had taught him that waste was a sin. Every part of an animal could be used, she'd say. Every part. The transition from animals to something else had happened gradually. So gradually that Marcus himself couldn't pinpoint exactly when the line was crossed. It started during his time working at the county morgue in his early 20s. Bodies that went unclaimed. Families who never came forward. Marcus began to see opportunity where others saw tragedy. After all, what was the difference between meat and meat? But here's what makes this story truly chilling, and I want you to think about this as we continue. How many times have you eaten somewhere and thought, this tastes incredible, what's their secret? Drop a comment below if you've ever had food so good it seemed almost too good to be true. By the time Marcus met Elena at a church barbecue 5 years ago, his special blend had already claimed 7 victims. She fell in love with his quiet confidence, his mysterious past, and yes, his incredible cooking. Their courtship was a whirlwind of romantic dinners where Marcus would prepare elaborate meals that left Elena speechless. "You're going to make some restaurant very lucky someday," she'd tell him. "I prefer to keep my recipes in the family," he'd respond. Elena thought she understood what he meant. The food truck launched 2 years into their marriage. Rodriguez's gourmet burgers became an overnight sensation. Lines would form before Marcus even opened for business. Food bloggers started featuring him. Local news wanted interviews. But success brought scrutiny. And scrutiny brought questions Marcus wasn't prepared to answer. "Where do you source your meat?" reporters would ask. "Family supplier," Marcus would say. "Very exclusive. Very private." Elena supported him completely. She handled the books, managed social media, and even helped with prep work on busy days. She never questioned why certain ingredients were kept in the locked garage freezer. She never asked why Marcus insisted on handling all the meat preparation himself. She trusted him. Trust. Such a fragile thing, isn't it? Built over years, destroyed in seconds. The cracks started showing 3 months ago. Missing person flyers began appearing around Houston with increasing frequency. Elena noticed because she had a soft heart for lost souls, she'd always stop to read them, say a little prayer. So many people just vanishing, she mentioned to Marcus one evening. Makes you wonder what's happening to this world. Marcus had gone very still. People disappear all the time, Elena. Most of them don't want to be found. Something in his tone made her look up from the flyers spread across their kitchen table. For just a moment, she saw something in her husband's eyes that she'd never seen before. Something cold. Something calculating. Something that made her blood run cold. The moment that changed everything happened on a Tuesday evening in March. Elena had come home early from her part-time job at the local library, hoping to surprise Marcus with his favorite dinner. She found the house empty, his truck gone, probably at the evening rush at the medical center. She decided to start preparing the meal and headed to the garage freezer for some ground beef. Marcus always kept the good cuts there, he said. As she approached the large chest freezer, she noticed the lock was slightly ajar. Marcus must have been in a hurry that morning. Elena lifted the heavy lid, expecting to see the usual packages of meat wrapped in white butcher paper. Instead, she found something that made her heart stop. A human hand. Pale, with painted fingernails. Still wearing a wedding ring. Elena stumbled backward, her mind refusing to process what she'd seen. She forced herself to look again, hoping her eyes had deceived her. But there it was, unmistakably human remains, carefully packaged alongside what she now realized wasn't beef at all. Her legs gave out. She sat on the concrete floor of the garage, staring at the open freezer, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. The missing person flyers flashed through her mind. The faces of people who had vanished without a trace. Mrs. Patterson from the hospital had said she'd never tasted anything like Marcus's burgers. Elena's stomach lurched as the horrible truth crashed over her. She ran to the house and vomited until there was nothing left. If you're watching this and thinking you could never miss signs like this, drop a comment below. Because what Elena discovered next proved that the person you trust most can hide the darkest secrets. When Marcus came home 3 hours later, Elena was sitting at the kitchen table with a cup of cold coffee, staring at nothing. She had spent those hours going through everything: his late nights, his secretive behavior, his insistence on handling all the meat preparation himself. "Hey, beautiful," Marcus said, kissing the top of her head like he did every evening. "How was your day?" Elena looked up at her husband, really looked at him. The man she had shared a bed with for 3 years. The man she had planned to have children with. The man who had been feeding human flesh to innocent people. "Marcus," she said quietly, "we need to talk." Something in her tone made him freeze. His easy smile faded. "What's wrong?" "I know what you've been doing." The silence stretched between them like a chasm. Elena watched as her husband's face transformed. The warmth disappeared from his eyes, replaced by something cold and calculating. "What do you think you know?" he asked. "I saw the freezer. I saw her." Marcus sat down across from her, his movements careful and deliberate. When he spoke, his voice was different, flat, emotionless. "You shouldn't have looked in there, Elena." "How many?" she whispered. "How many what? How many people have you killed?" Marcus leaned back in his chair, studying his wife like she was a problem to be solved. "Does it matter?" "Of course it matters. These are people, Marcus. Human beings with families who love them. They were nobodies," he said dismissively. "Homeless. Addicts. People society had already thrown away." Elena felt like she was talking to a stranger. "What happened to you? When did you become this monster?" The word hung in the air between them. Marcus's jaw tightened. "I'm not a monster, Elena. I'm practical. I saw opportunity where others saw waste. You're feeding people to other people. And they love it, Marcus said with a twisted smile. 5-star reviews. Lines around the block. I gave those people purpose in death that they never had in life. Elena stood up, her chair scraping against the floor. I'm calling the police. No, Marcus said quietly, you're not. The threat in his voice was unmistakable. Elena realized with growing horror that she wasn't talking to her husband anymore. She was talking to a predator who had been wearing her husband's face. Marcus, please. We can get you help. We can dash. Sit down, Elena. She remained standing, her hand moving toward her phone on the counter. I said sit down. Elena's hand trembled as she reached for her phone. She had to call 911. She had to stop this madness before more innocent people died. Elena. Marcus's voice was deadly calm. Step away from the phone. She grabbed it anyway, her fingers fumbling with the screen. Marcus moved faster than she'd ever seen him move, crossing the kitchen in 2 strides and slamming his hand down on hers. Let go of the phone, Elena. No. Her voice was stronger than she felt. I won't let you hurt anyone else. Marcus twisted her wrist until she cried out and dropped the phone. It clattered across the tile floor, sliding under the refrigerator. You don't understand, he said, still gripping her wrist. This isn't just about me anymore. You've been helping me, Elena. You've been part of this. What are you talking about? The books. The social media. The prep work. You think the police will believe you had no idea? His grip tightened. You're an accessory to murder, wife. Elena felt the blood drain from her face. He was right. She had been involved in every aspect of the business. Her fingerprints were on everything. But I didn't know, she whispered. Try proving that in court. Marcus released her wrist and stepped back. Besides, it's too late now. You've seen too much. The kitchen felt smaller suddenly, the walls closing in. Elena realized with crystal clarity that her husband, the man she had loved and trusted, was going to kill her. Marcus, please. I'm your wife. I love you. I loved you too, he said sadly. But you've become a problem that needs solving. Elena backed toward the kitchen door, her mind racing. The garage was behind her, but that's where he kept his tools. The front door was across the living room. Could she make it? Don't run, Elena. It'll only make this harder. She bolted. Elena sprinted through the living room, her bare feet slipping on the hardwood floors. She could hear Marcus behind her, his heavy footsteps gaining ground. The front door seemed miles away. She reached for the deadbolt just as Marcus's hand closed around her hair, yanking her backward. Elena screamed, clawing at his fingers. Nobody can hear you, Marcus said calmly. The Johnsons are out of town, remember? Elena elbowed him in the ribs, breaking free for a moment. She stumbled toward the kitchen, looking for anything she could use as a weapon. Her eyes fell on the knife block. Marcus tackled her before she could reach it, both of them crashing to the floor. Elena's head struck the corner of the kitchen island, stars exploding across her vision. I really didn't want it to end this way, Marcus said, straddling her. His hands closed around her throat. But you've left me no choice. Elena clawed at his hands, gasping for air. Black spots danced at the edges of her vision. This couldn't be how it ended. Not like this. With her last bit of strength, Elena drove her knee upward, connecting with Marcus's groin. He doubled over, cursing, his grip loosening just enough for her to roll away. She crawled toward the knife block, her vision blurry, throat burning. Her fingers closed around the largest knife just as Marcus grabbed her ankle. You always were a fighter, he said, dragging her back toward him. Elena flipped over and drove the knife upward with both hands. If you're still watching, hit that subscribe button right now, because what happened next will stay with you long after this video ends. The blade found its mark, sliding between Marcus's ribs. His eyes widened in shock, then fury. Blood bloomed across his shirt. You actually did it," he gasped. But Elena's victory was short-lived. Even wounded, Marcus was stronger. He wrenched the knife from her hands and raised it above his head. "If I can't have you," he said, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth, "nobody can." The knife came down. Elena Rodriguez died on her kitchen floor at 9:47 p.m. on a Tuesday evening in March. The official cause of death was multiple stab wounds to the chest and abdomen. But the real cause was trust, misplaced, absolute, and ultimately fatal. Marcus Rodriguez died 3 minutes later, bleeding out from the wound Elena had inflicted. In his final moments, he managed to drag himself to the garage, where he activated the industrial meat grinder he'd installed months earlier. The machine that had disposed of so many victims would claim one final life, his own. The discovery came 2 days later when Elena failed to show up for work at the library. Her supervisor, worried about the reliable employee who had never missed a day without calling, asked police to conduct a welfare check. What officers found at 1247 Maple Street would haunt them for years to come. Elena's body in the kitchen. Marcus's remains in the garage. And a freezer full of evidence that would solve 14 missing persons cases across Texas. The investigation revealed the full scope of Marcus Rodriguez's crimes. DNA evidence linked him to victims spanning 3 years. All people society had overlooked: the homeless, the addicted, the forgotten. His special blend had been a mixture of human and animal meat, carefully crafted to mask the taste while maintaining the addictive quality that kept customers coming back. Before we wrap up this story, I want you to think about something. How well do you really know the people in your life? Drop a comment below telling me about a time someone surprised you, good or bad. And if stories like this fascinate you as much as they terrify you, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because we dive deep into cases like this every week. The food truck was immediately shut down, but the psychological damage was done. Over 200 regular customers had unknowingly consumed human flesh over the course of 2 years. Many required extensive therapy. Several filed lawsuits against the city for failing to properly inspect food vendors. The Houston Medical Center, where Marcus had built his customer base, installed a memorial garden for the victims. 14 small plaques bear the names of people who deserved better than to become ingredients in a madman's recipe. Elena Rodriguez was buried on a sunny Thursday morning. Her funeral was attended by hundreds of people, co-workers, library patrons, neighbors who remembered her kindness. The woman who had unknowingly enabled a monster was remembered for who she truly was, a victim of the person she trusted most. The house on Maple Street was demolished 6 months later. The lot remains empty, a patch of grass where a marriage built on lies once stood. Locals say nothing will grow there properly, as if the earth itself remembers what happened. Marcus Rodriguez's crimes serve as a chilling reminder that evil doesn't always announce itself with fanfare. Sometimes it comes home every evening with a kiss on the forehead and asks about your day. Sometimes it cooks you dinner and tells you it loves you. Sometimes the person you trust most is the one you should fear the most. If this story affected you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, trust is earned, not given. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next video.